Hey Laowinners, this is Laowinners here with another video. I'm walking down a very strange alleyway, and I actually thought of an idea to talk about a topic that was on my mind while I was out shooting some extra footage for other videos. Now, I have to get something off my chest, and it's something that happened while I was filming Conquering Northern China, the second season of my TV show. And it was something really, really, really bad. Something horrible happened. And the horrible thing that happened actually was I lost my car. Now, before you delve too far deeply into this video, you have to understand part one and part two. Part one, I'll sum it up if you haven't seen it, is when I spent a lot of money to tune a Lexus Altezza or a Lexus IS. Basically, I found out that there was a tuner scene in the city that I lived in. Now, the funny thing about this is that it turns out tuning cars in China is actually quite illegal, but with enough connections, and if you live in a smaller area and stuff, you can get away with it. So I was in this weird situation where I knew the people who were tuning cars and getting away with heavy modifications, and I ended up buying a 1JZ twin turbo engine. Anyway, this engine was good for about 400 horsepower, so I had this tiny little rear-wheel drive car that was absolutely smoking everything around me, and it was cool. It was like I could get back into track racing, which is something I like to do back home in America. It was a hobby of mine that I was finally, after 8 years in China, able to pick up. So, spent my hard-earned cash on a car, tuned it, got everything taken care of, and I was ready to roll, basically. But what happened was, the person that helped me tune the car, he was an unsavory man. And I should say boy. He was basically born into a family with tons of money, and he held my car ransom when he said he was going to take care of my registration. Now, as he was taking care of my registration, I had no idea. I trusted him at this point, but he ended up giving my car to someone else. I don't know what happened at that point, but I lost almost a $50,000 car to some, bad little boy that had some debts or some issues. Anyway, long story short, I ended up getting the car back through a lot of efforts with family members and kind of bothering the guy over and over again. And got the car back and everything was hunky-dory, except for the fact that in this kind of tumultuous situation, I never ended up getting my registration for the car. So I had no book for it. And that meant I was riding around, in an illegal car here in China. And it's something that they've been cracking down on more and more these days here in China. So I didn't want to lose the car. I didn't want to be in a situation where I'd completely lose it to the police because it's unregistered, blah, 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 blah. So tried to track this guy down. We don't know where he is. We don't know what happened to him. Could be dead, could be in hiding, who knows? But what we do know is that when I was in Conquering Northern China filming, I got a phone call from my friend. Now, I gave the car to my friend to try to sell. He took it down to a track, and it was a pretty good track, and there was actually some prospective buyers, some people that actually wanted to buy the car. And this was awesome because they're gonna buy it as a track car, so I didn't have to worry about registration or anything like this. He's driving it, and something happens.
So there I am, broken down at the side of the road, stressing out about how we're gonna deal with this situation. Because in China, when you break down at the side of the road on that expressway, you're supposed to call the authorities and let them come and help you deal with the situation. And they have their own tow truck service, and you just have to pay whatever the hell they want to charge. But of course, because of the situation around this car, with with the way it used to just steamlook over so royally, that wasn't really on the table. So I'm broken down, we can't solve the problem, we've tried, and we've got our own kind of tow truck en route. So I'm sitting there sweating my balls off, hoping my tow truck shows up before the police show up, because obviously there's police going up and down the highway, patrol it. Of course, the tow truck does not show up, the police show up, I get out of the car, I go talk to them, I'm like quietly shitting myself, but I'm trying to play it cool. And I'm talking to them, and they're like explaining all this shit to me about, like, no, you can't wait in your own tow truck, we have to tow you, blah, blah, blah. I get on the phone to some people, who can maybe help me smooth this over, because as soon as the police look into this car, they'll find a very questionable record, again, because of that piece of shit East, who us and a lot of other people over. The police tell me to go back to the car. I'm back in the car, sitting there, you know, no AC, it's hot, pouring sweat, just like soaking the seat under me. Finally, a tow truck shows up, and I'm like, great, my tow truck's here, finally. And then I kind of notice a second later that it's the police's tow truck, and the police tell me to get on. So, you know, I'm sitting in the back of this car, on the back of a tow truck, not knowing for sure what the fuck is going on. The police take me off the highway and they dump me in a car like beside the police station until finally my tow truck shows up and takes me in a car away. So finally I'm feeling a sense of relief as we're like driving away from the police, you know, because like I have a driving license, but I can't show it to them in this situation because it will be voided for dealing, you know, for driving this car on, you know, on the road. And they let me go. Thank for that. They couldn't fix it then and there. They took them a while to work out what the problem was, and I bust out of there and came back a couple of weeks later to try again. They say that the car is fixed, blah, 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 blah. I come back, I pick it up, and I head off down the highway. Same problem happens again. Like, they fixed the symptoms, but they did not deal with the source of the problem. This time around, I've learned something at least, and I've learned that there is no way in hell I'm going to pull over on the side of the highway. By this point, I'm like far out of any area where I might have some, you know, local contacts who can kind of help me smooth things over, and it's just, the risk is just insanely high. I could go to jail. I pull off at the next available exit. The engine's making this horrible sound, and the car dies while I'm paying for the highway toll. The security guards there help push the car off the side of the road, and I talk to them. So they're like, okay, you can leave the car here. It's fine. Because there's no services open. Like, nobody could do anything. The car won't start. There's nothing we can do, right? So I walk off down the hill, and of course, my luck, the nearest and only available hotel is like a 5-star holiday resort, like 10 kilometers away. That cost a fortune. You know, so I'm like, I just need to sleep, so I pay that, and I crash out. I talk with a mechanic from the West who explains the problem to me. Basically what's happening is that the transmission is overheating, and that heat is being transferred into the engine, and it's blowing the valves. Basically, what I'm told is when the valves go in an engine, it's kind of game over, like in the West. But we're in China, you know, so like they can kind of custom make some new valves, which is apparently what they did when they fixed it the first time around. But they didn't deal with what was blowing the valve. They just blew again. And this time I didn't pull over immediately because I had to get the off the highway. Going back to the car, I'm like, well, this sucks because I'm pretty sure it's written off. At least there are some garages down the hill. Like, maybe I can get it towed there and I can leave it there and just, you know, let Simo deal with it however he sees fit. You know, like as I approach the car, it's surrounded by police, and I turn around and just kind of walk back into the trees. Like, the cars are right off. The risk is insanely high for probably no payoff. There was really nothing more I could do at that point. So we just had to let it go. Oh, it was terrible.
He had to leave the car there. He just walked away, and he had to walk back into the city to where he could, you know, get back home. So he lost the car, and he sent me a photo of it right before he left. So I have this one photo left of my car. In China, it's like if you're involved with people that are doing things that seem normal back home, like tuning your car, selling cars, things like this, it's very dubious here. You're involved with people that are actually committing crimes. I ended up losing a lot of money, a car that I cared for very deeply, and here I am. I still have my minivan, which I can drive my family around in, but it's just one of those things. It just really sucks. And the suckiest thing about this whole thing was actually I was in the middle of filming, and it was a really, really tough day, and I got to keep my spirits up for the TV show, you know, at least pretend like I'm excited in every scene. And I just find out, I get a phone call, I find out, and my car is gone. And then I have, you know, 8 to 10, 12, 15 hours on the bike, just stuck in my helmet thinking about all this shit. And I have no outlet, I have no release, I can't talk to anyone about it. So I'm gonna leave you guys with a couple little memories, a little montage that I put together. Rest in peace. Love you very much, and someday I'll have something even better and even faster than you.
Tide is on the brink of extinction. sky is on the verge of collapse. The birds and the trees all are falling like leaves. The memories are floating away. The cabins on the shore are abandoned. The streets are just a river of dust. The ships on the bay all go sailing away. They